Gold in the south is not bars, it is dust, weighed in shells, wrapped in leather, trusted by custom. Salt in the north is not pinches, it is bricks, carved from brine, stacked like books, priced by the sun. You cannot mint a desert, but you can discipline it. Mali's officials learn to tax volume, not rumor. At river ports, a clerk listens, measures, and smiles. He is not a judge, he is an instrument, a guarantee that weights will not wander and that promises will not evaporate. In return, merchants accept fees the way sailors accept wind, part of the voyage. Money appears wherever equivalence becomes easy. Merchants devise units. A dust pouch that equals a measure of salt that equals a length of cloth. Once equivalence is predictable, profit becomes planning. Once planning exists, debt appears. Bring me this in 3 moons. Take this now and settle later. Debts require memory. Memory requires books. Every book is an invitation to scale. In this world, a king's threat matters less than his schedule. If the guards walk on time, if the ferries run at dawn, if the tax is what it was yesterday, trade deepens. You cannot command trust. You manufacture it by repeating yourself. Thus before Mansa Musa, Mali is already a clock. He will not invent the hour, he will wind it.
Before coins change hands, landscapes choose winners. West Africa's story begins where the Niger River bends like a blue arm, and the Sahara descends like a golden sea. North of the savannah, caravans carve faint lines across dunes. Tagaza for salt, Autogost for trade, Sigil Masa for departure. South of the desert, forests whisper kola nuts, iron, and cloth. Between them, a corridor emerges. Gold rises from forested creeks, salt falls from fossil seas, and people meet where prices agree. Empires are not built on metals. They are built on movement. Villages at ferry crossings become towns. Towns at tax stations become capitals. Where the river widens, boats replace feet. Where the sand hardens, camels replace wheels. The Niger teaches a first law. Value is a function of friction. Lower the danger, lower the distance, lower the doubt, and wealth appears. The predecessors of Mali, Ghana, and then Susu, prove the rule. They do not invent gold, they standardize exchange. They write with barriers removed. Escorts for caravans, levies for passage, sanctions for cheating. Reputation is the only mint the desert respects. And reputation, once credible, prints itself. By the time Mali rises, the route is ready. Gold dust northbound, salt slabs southbound, ideas both ways. Markets form like oases, Walada, Timbuktu, Gao. Numbers travel in heads, then on sticks, then on paper. A civilization begins when ledger meets road. When Musa Kita I ascends, he inherits a graph. not a throne, nodes, edges, flows. He reads the empire like an accountant reads a trial balance. What enters, what leaves, what lingers dangerously. He strengthens corridor law, penalties for ambush, rewards for retrieval, leniency for delays declared in the clear. An empire can forgive error, it must punish opacity. His court blends jurists and logisticians, judges who convert custom into code, quartermasters who convert grain into marches. A good sentence prevents 20 disputes. A full granary prevents 10,000. Power is not the lion on the seal. It is the rice in the bowl. But legitimacy, like gold, has global price. Musa wants what the Mediterranean respects: piety witnessed, law aligned with Mecca, and a map that prints his name. So he plans the Hajj, not a visit, but a broadcast.
A pilgrimage can be a prayer. Musa makes it a system. He stages water at wells, fodder at oases, scribes at checkpoints, donations pre-labeled. He assembles thousands, soldiers for order, servants for pace, scholars for signal. And then the headline, gold. Enough to be seen, enough to be believed. The Sahara is merciless to amateurs, but Musa travels like a calendar with legs. He respects heat windows, star paths, camel fatigue. He enters each station with ritual, greetings, gifts, the same phrase, the same blessing. Consistency is not politeness, it is credit. Months later, he approaches Cairo, a city where prices have habits and news has speed. The lesson waiting for him is older than any empire. Markets do not worship generosity, they measure it.
Cairo breathes commerce. Grain barges on the Nile, scholars in Al-Azhar, brokers who can price a rumor by noon. Into this order walks a king whose charity glows like noon itself. Musa gives to mosques, jurists, craftsmen, the poor. He pays in fresh gold, beautiful gold, too much gold. In the short run, gratitude explodes. In the medium run, prices move. Gold's unit of account roll survives. Its purchasing power falls. Debtors smile. Creditors scowl. Retailers learn a quick new word: discount. Generosity becomes monetary policy without minutes. The city adjusts in the only language it knows: spread. Those who can arbitrage, buy with gold here, sell for silver there, state the gap until it closes. A gift can save a soul. A pattern of gifts can reprice a capital.
Musa watches the curve bend and does the modern thing centuries early. He absorbs liquidity. He borrows back some gold at poor terms. He accepts to be the weak hand so that the city steadies. Scholars will debate the numbers.
Merchants remember the intent. The king who shook the market is also the king who caught it. This is not weakness, it is custodianship. To rule trade routes is to become sometimes a central counterparty. You furnish confidence, you intermediate panic, you exit quietly, leaving function intact. When Musa departs Cairo toward Mecca, the price of gold is no longer a party trick. It is a mirror teaching 3 lessons. Scale matters. Big hands move thin markets. Timing matters. A right act done too fast becomes a wrong one. Reversibility matters. Credibility is the right to undo gracefully.
In Mecca, Musa is not a tourist. He is visible restraint. He funds with measure, prays with method, listens with intent. Scholars test his orthodoxy. He answers with both law and logistics, how he governs judges, how he funds wells, how he prices passage. Reputation compounds when conduct is consistent across contexts. Cairo saw a giver. Mecca sees a governor. By the time he turns homeward, Musa has converted spectacle into signal. Mali is not only rich, Mali is reliable. The desert that once separated worlds now distributes trust. Caravans leave Mecca carrying prayers and price updates. They will return with buyers.
Homeward, Musa audits his own myth. He has learned the elasticity of markets, the slope of charity, the cost of fame. He resolves a pivot. Convert gold into institutions, so that institutions can mint reputation without gold. He plans Timbuktu and Gao as knowledge ports, mosques that double as registries, schools that double as standards bodies. He funds scribes because books travel farther than bricks. He retains architects because beauty makes memories sticky. And he instructs his officers to treat the caravan schedule like scripture. A late convoy is a tax. An unsafe road is a bank run. When he sees the Niger again, he does not see water. He sees a payments rail, boats as batch settlement, ports as clearinghouses, dry season tracks as off-chain channels. Power is not what enters the treasury. It is what flows without you. The king who set out to be witnessed now returns with a better ambition, to build a system that does not need witnessing.
Timbuktu is not a coastal city. It is a desert harbor where caravans dock instead of ships, where dunes are waves and oases are anchorages. Here, the Niger bends closest to the Sahara, and that bend is an arbitrage. Boats bring grain and people. Camels bring prices. Mansa Musa reads the map like a ledger and chooses Timbuktu as his signal post, not because it is oldest, but because it is loudest, a place where news arrives first and departs fastest, a capital for attention, not administration.
Musa converts gold into stone and silence. He commissions great mosques, most famously Jingireder, raised in earth-toned mass and palm wood beams, built to breathe in heat and hold sound. Tradition names an Andalusian master among its designers. What matters is the design's intelligence. Cool in noon, bright at dawn, strong in storm. He invests in Sankore, a mosque that becomes a university without saying the word. Courtyards turn into classrooms, porticos into syllabi, pulpits into methods. Scholars of Maliki law, grammar, astronomy, and arithmetic gather from Wallata, Fez, and beyond. Debate is disciplined the way caravans are, routes for ideas, stops for questions, rest houses for proofs. Architecture here is policy. Thick walls are warranties against heat. Niches for books are vaults. Minarets are lighthouses for minds. To step inside is to feel wealth change phases, from metal to method, from shine to structure. Musa converts gold into stone and silence. He commissions great mosques, most famously Jingiredder, raised in earth-toned mass and palm wood beams, built to breathe in heat and hold sound. Tradition names an Andalusian master among its designers. What matters is the design's intelligence. Cool in noon, bright at dawn, strong in storm. He invests in Sankore, a mosque that becomes a university without saying the word. Courtyards turn into classrooms, porticos into syllabi, pulpits into methods. Scholars of Maliki law, grammar, astronomy, and arithmetic gather from Wallata, Fez, and beyond. Debate is disciplined the way caravans are, routes for ideas, stops for questions, rest houses for proofs. Architecture here is policy. Thick walls are warranties against heat. Niches for books are vaults. Minarets are lighthouses for minds. To step inside is to feel wealth change phases, from metal to method, from shine to structure.
Gold pays once, books pay forever. In Timbuktu, paper becomes a commodity, imported from the Maghreb and Egypt, priced by weight, texture, and whiteness. Copyists, fast, exact, turn a single volume into 10 into a library. Margins bloom with notes, isnads for hadith, glosses for law, star charts corrected by careful eyes. Each correction is value added, each colophon a provenance tag. The book market behaves like a bourse. Titles in demand appreciate, a legal compendium after a famous dispute, an astronomical table after an eclipse, a grammar during exam season. Scholars arbitrate differences across regions. If Fez copies diverge from Cairo copies, prices reflect certainty. Loans are made against libraries. A scribe's collection becomes collateral. A jurist's shelf, reputation made tangible. Waqfa endowments, charitable trusts, fund chairs, oil for lamps, stipends for students who will spend their nights turning paper into people. The city discovers a fiscal truth, intellectual property before the term existed. Not patents, but provenance. Not secrecy, but quality control. Timbuktu's brand is accuracy. and accuracy is margin. Homeward, Musa audits his own myth. He has learned the elasticity of markets, the slope of charity, the cost of fame. He resolves a pivot. Convert gold into institutions, so that institutions can mint reputation without gold. He plans Timbuktu and Gao as knowledge ports, mosques that double as registries, schools that double as standards bodies. He funds scribes because books travel farther than bricks. He retains architects because beauty makes memories sticky. And he instructs his officers to treat the caravan schedule like scripture. A late convoy is a tax. An unsafe road is a bank run. When he sees the Niger again, he does not see water. He sees a payments rail, boats as batch settlement, ports as clearinghouses, dry season tracks as off-chain channels. Power is not what enters the treasury. It is what flows without you. The king who set out to be witnessed now returns with a better ambition, to build a system that does not need witnessing.
The Niger is not a river of water alone. It is a river of transactions. It loops like a circuit, connecting forest, savanna, and Sahel. Its flood calendar is a ledger written in rain and withdrawal. Each year, when the waters rise, boats become barges carrying grain, copper, cloth, and dust. Each dock acts like a clearinghouse, balances settled not in ink, but in cargo. When the water recedes, routes shrink to channels. Traders mark them like bookkeepers mark margin notes. Mansa Musa understands this rhythm. He standardizes tolls by distance and cargo type, not by whim. He creates official ferry tokens, small pieces of wood sealed by the crown, so each crossing logs a count of trust. The river turns from a geographical gift into a governable network. And because boats must return empty or full, Mali learns its first principle of liquidity management. An idle hull is frozen capital.
Down the bend lies Gao, the empire's second pulse. It is half warehouse, half bazaar, the place where caravans and canoes shake hands. Here the market discovers what Adam Smith will later name division of labor and the cost of distance. Transport sets price. A bag of grain sold 1 day's ride upstream fetches less than one delivered 10 days into the desert. Musa's administrators record this spread with care. Their tables are the earliest forward rates. He issues guidelines for port fees, bridge maintenance, and insurance by guild. Losses are pooled. Repairs are funded collectively. When a boat sinks, the ledger adjusts itself. No lawsuit, no panic. Just premium in, compensation out. Commerce acquires memory without vengeance. The river becomes a living diagram of supply and demand. When rain is late, prices rise. When harvests surge, fees fall. Policy is no longer orders from a palace, but algorithms in motion.
Information travels by boat faster than by hoof.
Musa encourages captains to carry not only goods, but news, exchange rates, weather, rumors of bandits, court decrees. Each stop posts slates of rates and routes. The Niger becomes a data bus. He orders towns to build small beacons on river bends, oil lamps hung in tower windows. Each pattern of light means safe passage, delay, or danger. A primitive telegraph, centuries ahead of wires. In markets, news moves value. A rumor of a failed harvest in the north raises southern prices before a grain boat even launches. Those who read currents well profit quietly. Those who ignore them pay tuition in loss. Musa lets this flow because efficient information is cheaper than enforcement. A river that speaks honestly needs fewer soldiers. Transparency is defense by design.
As years pass, scribes note correlations. When rainfall fails, salt prices rise first, then gold, then cloth. When floods exceed banks, credit tightens, boats lost, cargo spoiled, confidence thin. Musa treats climate as macroeconomics in disguise. He establishes grain reserves at key ports, not charity, but counter-cyclical buffer. He mandates that tax receipts be stored partly in commodity form so revenue breathes with nature. When the river drops, the state releases grain at cost, buying stability instead of panic. This discipline reaches even law. Flood calendars determine contract maturity. Storm season suspends collection. Economy and ecology sync like clock and pendulum. Standing on the riverbank at sunset, Mansa Musa watches boats glide by and understands his own empire as flow state. Inputs, throughput, outputs, each cycle priced in patience. He has transformed geography into monetary infrastructure. The river does not need him to move any longer. And that is how you know a system works.
Trade routes are habits until wind rewrites them. In the 15th century, Portuguese caravels learned the language of the Atlantic, voltas do mar, currents that carry hulls like conveyor belts. What once crawled across dunes now sails around them. Gold, ivory, and soon people begin moving by coast, not corridor. For England empires, the map tilts. Timbuktu still hums, Gao still counts, but a shadow falls, a new edge where coastal forts price what caravans used to. Elmina rises on the Gold Coast like a lighthouse of accounting, scales, bars, and foreign ledgers that ignore the desert. The Sahara becomes optional. At first, Mali shrugs. The Niger still clears cargo. The caravan still pays. But arbitrage leaks value. A bag of dust that once bought salt in Tagaza now fetches less against coastal bullion handlers. Margins thin. Time to market lengthens. The empire feels a pressure it cannot see. Ocean efficiency.
Markets adapt like rivers, slowly, then suddenly. Coastal buyers offer beads, cloth, metals, and coin at docks. Inland brokers must now justify their distance premium. Some try speed, others secrecy. Neither beats sail plus current. Salt from Tagaza faces a substitute, sea salt. Copper caravans confront imported brass. The old pairs, desert salt for forest gold, unravel into triangles, coast, river, desert. Triangle beats line. Liquidity migrates. Credit that once relied on caravan schedules shifts to ship calendars. The risk model changes. Dunes to storms. Raiders to privateers. Way stations to forts. Insurance follows the cheapest path to predictability. And for the first time, it is not inland. Mali's officials adjust tariffs, standardize fees, and tighten escorts. But policy cannot outrun physics. Wind is a subsidy the state cannot match.
Where roots go, ethics are tested. The Atlantic brings a trade that corrupts the grammar of value, people priced as cargo. What was once war captives trickling along caravans metastasizes into demand signals from ships with empty holds and full guns. Some border chiefs convert violence into inventory. Raids become procurement. Debt becomes bondage. Ledgers record what language refuses to. Lives as units. Empires that once taxed movement now bleed from it. Mali's core, older, inland, conservative, resists. But peripheries chase coastal cash. Every person sold creates a hole in production, a break in memory, a tear in the social balance sheet that no coin can fill. The system that turned gold into schools now watches gold turn mines into metal. Markets can price anything. Civilizations cannot survive that.
The empire faces three choices: recenter, interlink, or harden. Recentering means pushing authority toward the coast. New alliances, river-to-sea logistics corridors. Treaties with forts to tax throughput instead of origin. Interlinking means converting caravan intelligence into Atlantic intelligence. Agents at ports, prices posted inland, dual rail finance that treats canoes and caravels as one book. Hardening means doubling down inland, protecting scholars, green reserves, courts, human capital, accepting smaller GDP, defending higher dignity. Mali tries a partial weave. History prefers clear decisions. As successors quarrel and rivals rise, the Songhai will take the river, and the coast will take the future. Timbuktu remains learned. Cairo remains busy. Lisbon learns dominance. The map has moved. What remains is instruction. Edge risk is destiny. Build institutions that can pivot when the edge moves. Liquidity chooses speed. If your rail is slower than the world's, your margin is charity. Protect the irreproducible. Gold can migrate. Memory, law, and skills must be anchored. At dusk on the riverbank, boats still glide.
Children still learn by lamp. Judges still weigh by law. The empire is smaller, but its method survives. And method, when kept alive, can wait for new routes to rediscover it.
Empires do not vanish, they are handed off. As Mali's reach thins, Songhai rises where logistics are strongest. Gao, a river city that thinks like a ledger and moves like a convoy. The Niger does not care which banner shades it. It favors whoever keeps time. Sunny Ali appears first, a commander who treats the river as a weapon. His cavalry learns the floodplains, his boats learn the bends. He does not debate the past, he secures the present. Forts at crossings, patrols at choke points, quick justice at markets where fear might grow legs. He understands the arithmetic of order. Fast response lowers insurance. Visible force shortens disputes. Scheduled escorts create price floors. Merchants do not love him, they clear under him. Gao's docks swell with grain, copper, cloth, and whispers that the center has moved. Timbuktu and Janae, scholarly and stubborn, resist conquest, then adapt to routine. Songhai learns the same lesson Mali learned. Cities will obey the flag that protects their calendars. Conquest establishes control. Code establishes continuity. After Sunny Ali, Askia Muhammad reframes power from muscle to method. He rides to Mecca, not to stun the market with gold, but to bind law to prestige. Where Musa advertised liquidity, Askia advertises legitimacy. Back home, he standardizes weights, measures, and taxes, invites jurists to regularize the courts, and converts diverse customs into Maliki predictability. He sketches provincial administration like a tree, governors as branches, markets as leaves, the trunk a secretariat that records everything. He funds Waqf to stabilize schools and mosques so that knowledge survives politics. He discovers a civilizational constant. The cheapest soldier is a predictable rule. When merchants know what the clerk will write before the ink dries, they price risk as transport, not caprice. Revenue rises without screaming. Timbuktu thrives under this clarity. Gao counts, Janae copies, scholars annotate Askia's decrees the way they annotate law, margin notes on government itself. Songhai has done what strong empires do, convert victory into boring reliability. Songhai does not need to invent new tools. It needs to compose them. The caravanserai, the grain reserve, the book market, the escort guild. These modules existed. Askia's genius is interfacing them. Calendars. Caravans and riverboats now align to shared departure windows, reducing idle inventory and arbitrage against time. Audit and relay. Provincial scribes send monthly tallies to Gao. Discrepancies trigger surprise inspections, not sermons. Fee lattice. Fixed tolls by cargo class. Surcharge for late season risk. Discount for convoy participation. Education loop. Stipends for jurists and mathematicians contingent on public lectures. Scholarship becomes public good, not private ornament. Security shifts from patrols to protocols. Banditry becomes expensive because resale without documents is impossible. Fences of paper do what fences of wood could not. When law is legible, theft is illiquid. Even culture enters the cost curve. Songhai music and festivals synchronize with market days, crowds as demand multipliers. The empire understands foot traffic as velocity. And yet, in the quiet of the chancery, a risk table lengthens. Edge exposure to the Sahara's salt and the forest's gold. Atlantic leakage threatening price parity. Gunpowder asymmetry advancing north of the desert. The operating system runs well, the world is patching around it.
Information arrives late but decisive. To the northwest, the Saudian state in Morocco begins to dream in silver. Its mines at Tafalaut suffer, its treasuries thin. Its court hears legends, some accurate, most inflated, of Songhai's gold. Here lies the danger of reputation lag. Mali's myth becomes Songhai's target. Cartographers still paint kings with orbs. Accountants in Marrakesh calculate solutions with barrels of powder. Songhai's ledger knows the threat in theory. Gunpowder collapses the price of cavalry courage. But procurement pipelines for firearms lag, doctrine ossifies, budgets prefer known line items over new arsenals. Institutions are brilliant at yesterday. Askia's successors focus on succession, not supply chains. The empire still schedules, the world starts surprising. Convoys keep time while diplomacy drifts. And across the dunes, an army practices with arquebuses. Yet the chapter is not despair. Even as stress accumulates, Songhai's discipline buys years of surplus, grain in reserve, courts that function, books that travel. When shocks come, societies without method break. Societies with method bend and teach. The lesson is printed as clearly as any decree in Gahao. Systems buy time. Spend it on adaptation, not ornament. Reputation compounds, but it also attracts extraction. Align myth with means. Edges move. Empires must move with them. Night settles along the Niger. Boats drift. Lamps blink. Ledgers close. Songhai rules the river. Efficient, elegant, and for now, enough. But beyond the dunes, a northern calculus clicks. Powder, pay, and the price of a desert gamble.
Empires hoard metal. Civilizations hoard methods. In Timbuktu, after armies pass and pashas tax, families turn inward to the only vault that keeps compounding: libraries. Shelves become balance sheets. Manuscripts are assets, with a yield measured in students, citations, and verdicts clarified. The great houses Akit, Bagayogo, Kati, Haidara catalog their holdings the way merchants catalog cargo. Titles are logged by subject, provenance, and chain of copying. Margins bloom with isnads, ownership marks, and the small arithmetic of correction, proof that a book is not a relic, but a platform. The city learns to insure itself in paper. A father divides his wealth, 1/3 in land and grain, 1/3 in gold and goods, 1/3 in books that anchor both faith and law. Gold can be seized. A library can be hidden in a wall and returned to service when danger cools. A new social class hardens: the custodian scholar, half jurist, half treasurer, who understands that the cheapest fortress is consensus and the cheapest mint is clarity. The syllabus of the city is a constitution disguised as coursework. Maliki law trains judges in precedent, intent, and the pricing of evidence. Arabic grammar trains precision, so contracts cannot wriggle free. Prosody teaches rhythm, the memory's metronome for oral citation. Astronomy and mathematics align calendars, prayer times, and logistics. When to sail, when to sow, when to saddle. Teachers test not merely knowledge, but reliability. Arrive on time, annotate honestly, cite cleanly. Graduation is not a parchment, it is a reputation gradient. Who seeks you for fatwas? Who hires you to mediate? Whose sons you are trusted to teach? Science is practical. Star tables reduce route risk.
Arithmetic underwrites Waqf ledgers. Jurisprudence reduces enforcement cost. Each discipline trims transaction friction. The city functions because its curriculum prices chaos. When famine threatens, scholars draft public rulings permitting grain release from endowments. When rulers overreach, they cite limits on taxation preserved in centuries of commentary. Books are not symbols, they are switches for policy. Copyists run an exchange with rules older than boards: speed, legibility, orthography fidelity. A famed scribe's hand can raise a book's price tenfold. A sloppy hand discounts a lineage of knowledge. Ink quality, paper whiteness, leather grade, and binding stitch are reported like commodity specs. Orders cluster by season. Before Ramadan, theology and law surge. After eclipses, astronomy sells. When a governor dies, inheritance manuals spike. Demand shocks are predictable. So is supply. Apprentices trained in a guild cadence that keeps capacity elastic. Finance appears at the desk. A merchant sponsors a collected works. Payment in installments per quire delivered. A student buys usufruct, the right to copy a master's volume for a fee, keeping a derivative while the original returns to shelf. Writers pay publication waqf to make key texts free to copy, a proto-open access that scales literacy. Even piracy is civilized. If a copy is made without license but errors are corrected and provenance established, a fine is paid, a stamp affixed, and the book joins the lawful commons. The market prefers accurate abundance to righteous scarcity. Occupation scatters people, but not practice. When Ahmed Baba is marched to Marrakesh, he does not leave Timbuktu. He exports it. In exile, he writes biographical dictionaries and legal treatises that map West African scholarship into the Maghrib's archives, intellectual remittances that outlast chains. Decades pass, garrisons wither, dynasties blink. Yet courtyards still hold class at dusk, and children still trace letters on wooden tablets rinsed clean for tomorrow. A city that cannot control its borders controls its beginnings. Reading, measure, prayer, promise. Memory becomes infrastructure. Rituals of copying, citing, lending, and ruling carry the load that palaces failed to bear. The Republic of Books survives the republics of banners because method beats mandate when time stretches. At night, in a room where a lamp burns low, a custodian draws a cloth over a shelf and whispers a prayer taught by his grandfather, that pages stay dry, that hands stay clean, the truth stays cheaper than fear. Outside, the river turns again. Tomorrow, the city will open its books and quietly govern.
Southwest, the mossy kingdoms, Ugadugu, Yatenga, Tenkodogo, sit on watersheds and warpaths, not river highways. They do not try to outmarket the Hausa. They outfrontier them. Power is interception. Escorts that sell safety, garrisons that sell predictable passage, chiefs who convert tribute into buffer stock. The mossy calculus is simple. Do not stop the tide, skim it. Do not mint markets, tax their fear. Keep cavalry fresh, roads serviceable, and justice visible. In dry seasons, they sell protection contracts, month-long escorts priced by load and destination. In war seasons, they sell peace windows, truces along corridors that let trade breathe while armies snarl.
The frontier is a derivative written on volatility. When raids rise, mossy premiums rise. When routes calm, their take falls. They survive by pricing weather in human form. Their weakness is depth. Frontiers fatten when centers are stable. They starve when edges move. When Atlantic demand bends routes coastward, frontier rent thins. Security without a hinterland of craft becomes ceremony. Across Sahel and Savannah, traffic resolves into triangles. Hausa cloth and leather, Tuareg salt and news, forests cola and gold. Scholars and scribes, judges and guild rules, merchants and credit. Triangles beat lines because they hedge. If one leg fails, two can reprice the third. Brokers, half linguist, half accountant, become the Sahel's switches. They hold price maps in the head, what blue fetches in Walata, what cola fetches in Agadez, what pages fetch in Katsina after exam season. A good broker lowers entropy. A great one lowers violence. The economics of edges clarifies. Modularity wins. City-states that treat guilds, courts, and caravans as plug-and-play recover faster than empires that rebuild whole monuments. Brand is collateral. A guild stamp or a scholar's signature can cross more borders than any army. Frontier rent is cyclical. Price uncertainty richly pays interceptors until a faster rail, sea, or river collapses variance. Diversity of rails, river, road, and ridge beats elegance of one. Redundancy is resilience. Dusk gathers over mud towers and blue pits. A call to prayer threads through market roofs. A bell answers from a schoolroom. Somewhere, a caravan's bell line trembles like distant rain. Empires have names. Networks have pulse. Tonight's the Sahel pulses. Quiet, calculative, alive. Tomorrow, the road will choose its winners again, and those who standardize trust will hear the prophet first.
Empires make headlines, networks make deliveries. East of the Niger's Great Bend, the Hausa's city-states, Kano, Katsina, Zaria, Gobir, Daura, Birnin Kebi, do not seek to rule deserts, they seek to route them. Each city specializes, dyes in Kano, scholarship in Katsina, horses and arms in Zaria. Together they form a portfolio. Walls rise not to trap wealth, but to buffer volatility. Stock runes against drought, toll gates against raids, schedules against rumor. Markets sit at the heart, mosques beside them, guilds around them. Dyers, leather workers, weavers, metal workers. Every guild is a risk pool disguised as craft. Caravans from the west bring books, cloth, copper. From the north come salt and tales. From the south, koldam and people. The Hausa speak the language of margin with the grammar of measure. They trust receipts more than rhetoric. Where empires promise safety, hubs promise service, and service, when kept, becomes sovereignty.
For centuries, value moved by camel and current, slow but traceable. Then came a new arithmetic, Atlantic geometry, where wind, compass, and cannon replace sand, sun, and star. Portugal's experiment along Africa's edge becomes Spain's empire, then Europe's liquidity machine. Silver from Potosi floods Seville. Gold from Guinea and Mina gilds palaces that have never seen a desert. Metal that once pulsed through Mali and Songhai now sails straight into mints and markets a continent away. The Sahara's toll gates fall silent. Prices de-link. The North no longer needs the middle. Every empire becomes an arbitrage model. Whoever shortens delivery time wins. Whoever controls supply shock defines exchange rates. The world's first global settlement layer hums to the rhythm of sails and storms. The desert remains beautiful, but the spread is gone. And when spread dies, empires consolidate or collapse. West Africa's interior, once the center of weight, drifts toward periphery. Coastal forts multiply. Elmina, Luanda, Weda, Kasho, Bissau, each a plug into the same Atlantic grid. Behind every flag stands ledger logic. Import manufactured goods, export raw material, settle imbalance with people. The triangular trade writes itself in tonnage and tears. And yet, inland markets do not vanish. They reroute. Caravans now link coast to Sahel, not Sahel to Maghreb. New brokers emerge. Afro-Portuguese lançados, Creole traders, bilingual and bi-currency, fluent in salt and soul. They measure by bar, reckoned by barrel, price grist in rumor. In Kano, dyers still tend pits. In Timbuktu, scribes still copy books. But currency itself mutates. Cowries from the Indian Ocean, brass manilas from Europe, silver reales from Mexico, each with its own exchange ecology. Local economies become multilingual, translating weight, shell, and face into rough parity. Confusion births innovation. Local market grammars that teach how to survive when the world's units won't agree. The Sahel invents flexibility before economists name it. A market that prices everything inevitably prices everyone. The Atlantic's deepest cargo is not metal, but bodies. For the first time, human movement becomes negative capital, wealth leaving in flesh. Ports thrive on what inland law forbids. Raids and debts feed ships' inventories. Where gold once backed contracts, now captivity does. Mosi frontiers and Hossa corridors bend under pressure, monetizing despair. Credit flips sign. A man's promise becomes a lien on his kin. It is a balance sheet that cannot reconcile. Scholars argue sin. Traders argue necessity. Rulers argue survival. But the columns stay blood red. And yet, even amid extraction, patterns persist. Weights still balanced, contracts still copied,
Guilds still arbitrate disputes. The muscle of order flexes through pain. Economy becomes endurance. By the 17th century, arbitrage has gone planetary. European ledgers settle across hemispheres. West African ports pulse to the tempo of Amsterdam's interest rates. Salt caravans fade into legend, but the logic they taught, measure, timing, and trust, survives inside every contract the ocean writes. Globalization is not invention. It is continuation by acceleration. The same equations still hold. Reduce friction, and wealth expands. Ignore fairness, and systems implode. Trust, once priced out, costs centuries to rebuild. The Atlantic world gains speed and loses memory. The Sahara world keeps memory and loses speed. Between them lies the modern paradox: efficiency without wisdom, data without context. Night returns to the river and the coast alike. On one side, lanterns swing on ships' masts. On the other, lamps flicker in mud libraries. Both light sources burn the same fuel, curiosity. And beneath the stars, unseen but unbroken, the old equation still whispers. Value equals trust times time.
Before soldiers came, surveyors did. Europe redrew the African interior with quills, not swords, turning rivers into margins, forests into assets, and people into liabilities on paper. Each expedition carried 3 instruments: a compass, a theodolite, and a ledger. Every hill measured, every village listed, every harvest estimated. Numbers became claims. By the time flags arrived, the accounting was already done. Cartography mutated into credit risk analysis. Regions rich in soil were collateral. Those rich in resistance were loss provisions. Chiefs became local partners, lines in a spreadsheet of obedience. Colonial finance didn't start with conquest, it started with projection. The illusion that whatever can be measured can be owned. And in Europe's capitals, investors bought bonds against that illusion. The continent itself was securitized. When the treaties were signed and the guns unpacked, colonizers confronted a paradox: how to tax a population whose economy ran on trust and time, not minted metal. The answer was forced monetization. Taxes payable only in imperial coin. No cowries, no cloth, no grain. To get the coin, locals had to work on roads, plantations, or mines. Thus, taxation became labor recruitment in disguise. Money now flowed one way: down the mine, up the ship, across the sea, back as manufactured debt. Imports replaced craft, tariffs erased guilds, and barter became illegal. Markets that once optimized for resilience were re-optimized for remittance. Colonial banks issued currency not to stabilize prices, but to stabilize obedience. Each note was a receipt for subordination, convertible only within boundaries the empire drew. Inflation wasn't an accident, it was a discipline tool. Railways, telegraphs, ports, the empire's proud gifts were not generosity, they were margin calls. Each mile of track existed to extract faster. Each telegraph line shortened the time between command and compliance.
Loans financed rails, rails justified loans, interest accrued in London, not Lagos. Colonies paid with customs, crops, and quiet. A dial-rail train could halt wages, but never interest. The math was perfect in its cruelty. Build a railway worth $1 million, lend it at 5%. Let the colony repay $50,000 a year forever. Reinvest the interest into another loan. Result: permanent dependency camouflaged as progress. When locals resisted taxation, troops arrived not as warriors but as collectors. Villages were burned to enforce arrears. Famine followed fiscal calendars. Debt replaced the whip because it left fewer witnesses. But every system breathes auditors. Missionaries taught reading to spread faith. Students used it to read contracts. Clerks trained to tally shipments learned to tally lies. By the late 19th century, African thinkers Blyden, Horton, Crowther, Atuahoma began balancing the empire's books in prose. They saw the asymmetry: value extracted, credit denied, profit expatriated. They called it not civilization, but compound interest on conquest. Secret societies and early cooperatives began new ledgers: community savings, mutual aid, credit unions, microbanks of defiance. Where the empire wrote debtor, they wrote shareholder. Where banks charged interest, they charged trust. The revolution didn't begin with guns, it began with reconciliation of moral accounts. Each sermon, each pamphlet, each boycott was an entry on the balance sheet of justice deferred. And when independence finally arrived decades later, the first demand was not revenge. It was access to the books. Night falls over the colonial port. In a warehouse, ledgers sit open, ink still wet. Outside, a boy reads numbers he cannot yet interpret, but somehow understands. That every empire ends when its accounting stops balancing, and when those once counted learn to count themselves.
When the flags went up and the anthems echoed, the numbers did not reset. Independence came political first, financial last. Each new nation inherited a treasury filled with receipts, not reserves. The currency still bore a foreign monarch. The interest rates still whispered in London, Paris, or Lisbon. Leaders faced a cruel spreadsheet. Population growing, infrastructure aging, reserves shrinking, expectations infinite. The colonial drain was replaced by a new inflow: development loans. The signatures changed, the equations did not. Technical assistance meant consultants with veto power. Aid meant credit with conditionality. Budgets were drafted not in capitals, but in embassy offices. For the first time, freedom had a monthly payment. In 1944, far from Africa, a different map was drawn: Bretton Woods, where gold, the dollar, and the IMF defined the planet's new grammar of solvency. Post-colonial states entered as junior members to a club that priced virtue in convertibility. Loans required stability plans, currency pegs, export targets. Rice and cocoa, copper and oil became collateral for ideology. Industrial dreams deferred, balance of payments prioritized. A budget deficit was no longer a policy, it was a sin. By the 1970s, commodity booms gave false confidence. Copper climbed, cocoa soared, oil glittered. Governments borrowed against eternal demand. When prices crashed, Interest did not. The result? Sovereign insolvency without sovereignty. The IMF arrived like a doctor with one prescription: austerity. Subsidies gone, wages frozen, currencies devalued, hospitals dimmed, schools thinned, streets learned the vocabulary of import parity. Freedom, indexed to the dollar, became non-fungible. The 1980s rewrote constitutions in spreadsheets. Structural adjustment programs, SAPs, converted ideology into conditional equations. Cut spending, privatize assets, deregulate trade, obey metrics. Factories closed, currencies collapsed, and public goods, water, power, grain, were unbundled into invoices. Governments became clients of their own banks. The logic was internally flawless, externally blind. Markets allocate resources efficiently, but only after survival costs are prepaid. When citizens cannot buy efficiency, they barter resentment. Urban youth turned to informal trade. Rural migrants refilled the slums. A parallel economy bloomed. Minibuses, street markets, remittances, smuggling. The silent bailout of systems that had priced out their citizens. Efficiency created shadow resilience, life by workaround. And beneath the macroeconomic triumphs, lower inflation, balanced accounts, lay social bankruptcy. Austerity paid its interest in decades of distrust. By the 1990s, a new generation of economists and poets spoke the same quiet truth, that growth without dignity is a rounding error, and freedom without options is debt by other means. They built cooperatives, microcredit circles, diaspora funds, fintech before the term existed. They relocalized trust, savings in goats, airtime, and mobile minutes, currencies that ignored borders. Each workaround was a repurchase of autonomy, one transaction at a time. Global markets still watched, algorithms replacing accountants, ratings replacing rulers. But the pattern had inverted. Knowledge, once imported, was now exported in reverse. Engineers, coders, teachers. Remittances became the largest inflow, proof that migration is capital in motion. Independence, it turned out, was not an event, but a cash flow statement. Revenues of hope, expenses of history, depreciation of patience. The audit continues. Night on the skyline of Accra, Lagos, Dakar. Neon where oil lamps once burned. Children study under LEDs powered by debt, yet dream in compound interest of imagination. And the whisper that began with gold dust and camels survives in fiber optics. Wealth is memory that moves.
The first true bank many citizens ever held was not a vault, it was a SIM card. Where branches were scarce and fees were sermons, USSD menus became tellers, feature phones became cash drawers. A handset number turned into an address, a PIN into property, an agent kiosk into a port. Like caravans and ferries, agents formed nodes, market stalls by day, settlement hubs by dusk. Float was inventory. Airtime was near money. Trust was still local. Transfers settled in seconds, receipts in text, disputes in community memory. The oldest rule returned in new syntax. Reduce friction and liquidity appears.
Mobile money taught a continent to price time again. Fees by distance, cash in-out spreads by risk, limits by fraud probability. A mother in the city paid school fees upriver with a string of digits. A farmer sold produce and stored value outside the dust of inflation. The river was now spectrum, the boat a signal. When money digitizes, data becomes the guild master. Ride hails, delivery apps, marketplace ratings. Each click a footnote in a private ledger. Reputation, once stamped by guilds, then by banks, was now computed by platforms. A 5-star score opened doors that a passport could not. Algorithms priced working capital in real time, advance today's earnings, repay from tomorrow's rides, lend against inventory scans, throttle risk with geofences. Like caravan escorts, platforms sold predictability, but at the price of dependency. Commissions were tariffs, terms of service the law, account freezes the siege. The promise was inclusion, the risk was capture. When a single API could pause a livelihood, sovereignty shrank to a checkbox. Users became citizens of terms and conditions, taxed in percentages, governed by updates. It was empire by interface, efficient, benevolent, and borderless. But yet for millions, it worked. Groceries arrived, bills cleared, microloans smoothed droughts of cash flow. A new middle class learned to read dashboards the way their grandfathers read river levels. Then came a proposition older than Venice and bolder than Bretton Woods. A ledger without permission, time-stamped by consensus, collateralized by math. Blockchains offered the desert's dream with the ocean's speed. Settle value without gatekeepers, publish rules as code. Stablecoins stitched the diaspora to home. Salaries earned abroad arriving as tokens sold for local cash or used directly. Remittance fees collapsed, settlement windows narrowed, arbitrage returned as market making, not middlemen. Yield farms mimicked walk-off, pools that pay. DAOs mimicked councils, votes that count. But the mirror cut both ways. Volatility was a sandstorm, exploits a bandit raid, rug pulls a failed escort. Without identity, fraud scaled. Without regulators, panic priced truth. The old maxims resurfaced in code. Finality beats promise. Self-custody demands literacy. Bridges are wars on the river, secure or be sacked. Where states banned, users routed. Where banks stalled, wallets synced. Crypto did not replace trust, it rearranged it, away from institutions toward protocols in peers. Look back and the pattern is unbroken. Caravan, agent network. Grain reserve, liquidity buffer. Wakaf, endowment protocols. Market court, on-chain governance plus audits. River beacon, price oracle. Technology changes nouns, economics keeps verbs. Systems live when they do 3 things: reduce friction, price risk, preserve dignity. The next republics will not be carved in marble, but composed in modules. Identity that proves without exposing. Settlement that clears without coercion. Credit that explains its math. Policy that treats code as infrastructure, not ideology. Guardrails must learn from every century we crossed. From Mali and Songhai, rails before rhetoric. From Venice, transparency over charisma. From the Atlantic, speed with ethics or speed becomes extraction. From mobile money, design for the last mile first. From crypto, openness with responsibility or chaos rents the commons.
Night once more over a city where antennas blink like distant fires. A courier scans a QR code, a student mints a credential. A grandmother reads a balance on a teapad that has outlived 3 regimes. The empire now is flow. Not a flag, not a face, but a choreography of packets, prices, and people. And somewhere beneath code and cables, the oldest whisper continues. Wealth is the trust we can move. Justice is the trust we refuse to break.
Civilizations rise when value flows. They stall when friction wins. From the Niger's currents to Venice's convoys to fiber optic rails, the constants are simple. Reduce friction intelligently. Cut distance, danger, and doubt without cutting discipline. A fast rail with fuzzy rules breeds panics faster than profits. Price risk where it lives. Insurance on dunes is not insurance on seas. KYC for paper is not KYC for code. Make context-specific risk tables. Update them with events, not opinions. Forecast by structure, not hope. Flood calendars, convoy timetables, ship seasons, settlement finality, treat them as physics. If your plan depends on a miracle, your plan is a myth. Liquidity is a drug. Dose it. Mansa Musa learned, inject slowly, exit credibly. Liquidity without exit is applause without a stage plan. These are not slogans, they are survival math. They built empires without kings and kept markets honest when kings mispriced themselves. Trust is not a feeling, it is infrastructure. The cheapest soldier is a predictable rule. The cheapest bailout is a transparent cue. Operational doctrines. Legibility before leverage. If users can't read the rule, they will stress test the rail. Publish fees, SLAs, and failure modes up front. Surprise is costly debt. Procedures beat personalities. Doge, Askia, Governor, Deo build committees that constrain heroes. If a system needs a genius daily, it is dying elegantly. Appeal paths, not PR. Markets forgive loss, they do not forgive silence. Have fast-track dispute resolution with logged outcomes and auditable rationale. Audit as culture. In Venice, the archive was the cathedral. Composability today means open APIs, verifiable logs, reproducible metrics. If a number cannot be re-derived, it is politics. Endow the commons, WAF logic, fund the rails, identity, payments, oracles with non-extractive yields. Profit from usage, not lock-in. When trust becomes cheap, creativity gets expensive in the best way. Builders spend on new value, not on reinventing doors and keys. Speed is power. Unethicized speed is extraction. 3 ratios to govern. Velocity to veracity, V over V. How fast does value move relative to how well you can prove it? If V over V is greater than 1 for long, you've built a panic engine. Leverage to liquidity, L over L. Leverage must not outgrow credible exit capacity. Ships, stalls, servers, can they unwind your positions on a bad day? Spread to meaning, S over M. High spread with low social utility invites predation. See Atlantic slaving. Price your profits against human cost. If S over M is obscene, history collects. Ethical guardrails. Ban business models that monetize opacity. Disclose externalities in the same font as APR. Treat users' attention and data as collateral that must return whole. If a design
only works when users misunderstand it, burn the design. Strategic tempo, in calm, standardize. In stress, slow the rail, widen the log. Breakers, grace windows, fee holidays. In recovery, audit publicly, then ship smaller, testable changes. Speed that preserves dignity compounds legitimacy, the rarest yield. Look forward with old eyes. Multi-rail settlements, like river plus caravan plus sea, design systems that fail gracefully. Bank rails, mobile money, crypto rails, synced by price oracles you can verify. Self-custody with training wheels. Custody is literacy. Offer graduated control, social recovery, session keys, spending limits, and human-readable signing. A ledger no one can use is not trustless, it is useless. Civic endowments in code, modern Waqf. Protocol treasuries, funding identity, dispute resolution, free tier payments for the poorest edge. Measure ROI in latency removed and lives included. Local oracles, climate, crop prices, port congestion, embed community feeds verified by reputation slashing. Macroeconomics starts with micro weather. Explainable credit. Replace black box scores with auditable features. If users can change behavior to change price, you've built dignity into debt. Archives that breathe. Default to open data with privacy guardrails. Store schemas with stories so numbers don't outlive meaning. Wealth is memory that moves. Archives are how it survives. Finally, keep the oath of the good bookkeeper, Venice to Timbuktu, Ghana to Gao. Record cleanly, settle fairly, borrow humbly, forgive deliberately, and never let speed outrun truth. Dawn over an unnamed river, boats push off. Some carry grain, some carry code. All carry trust. Somewhere a clerk opens a ledger. Somewhere a child opens a browser. Both read the day's first numbers. Empires have passed, systems have persisted, and the oldest math still holds. Value equals trust times time. Justice equals transparency times patience. Civilization equals flow with memory. The book closes, the rail continues. So do we.
History is a mirror. Execution is a map. To build anything durable, product, platform, city, you must compile story into system. 4 translations. Caravans, supply chains. Design for variance first, volume second. Define weather for your domain. Latency spikes, demand shocks, fraud waves. Pre-stage buffers, grain reserves to inventory and liquidity buffers. Publish schedules, convoys to release trains and SLAs. Rialto, clearing layer. Trust becomes cheap when the core is predictable. One canonical ledger, source of truth for balances, orders, and entitlements. Deterministic fees, deterministic failure modes. Appeals path that is faster than Twitter. Waqf, endowed infrastructure. Fund the commons once, harvest dividends forever. Identity, dispute resolution, price oracles, and observability treat as endowment rails. Pay with usage rent, not lock-in rent. University of Sancerre, onboarding as curriculum. Scale requires literacy. Progressive custody permissions, human-readable signing, simulations for failure. Exams equal milestones, pass to unlock higher limits or APIs. Rule: if the design can't be explained on a single page to a smart stranger, it will fail under stress. You are not launching an app. You are launching a microeconomy. Set the leathers before the storm. Unit of account: what do participants optimize? Time, tokens, throughput, or reliability? Medium of exchange: native versus external rails, FX paths, conversion frictions. Store of value: volatile or stable? Add buffers if volatile. Identity: who can act? K-levels by risk, social recovery, rate limits by trust. Reputation: transparent, portable, and appealable. Pricing: base plus risk premium plus surge with caps. Publish the curve. Clearing: batch or real time. Finality guarantees, retry policy. Insurance: opting pools, protocol deductibles, slashing for negligence. Governance: change windows, veto paths, quorum and warm-up time. No midnight pushes. Observability: public dashboards, verifiable logs, red team runbooks. Interoperability: adapters to legacy rails, fail open versus fail closed decisions. Off switch: circuit breakers with grace, user comms, fee holidays, staged resumption. Invariant: make cheating more expensive than compliance in every pathway. Every system meets its Thunderboy. The day doctrine lags physics. Rehearse the loss before it arrives. Phase A: calm. Instrument the river. Drill game days monthly. Latency surge, FX freeze, Oracle fail. Shadow books for reconciliation. Randomize audit targets. Publish health pings, reward bug bounties. Phase B: shock. Slow the rail, widen the log. Activate circuit tiers. Rate limit, raise confirmations, narrow features. Freeze governance changes. Expend user limits down, not to zero. Convert communications to hourly status bullets. Open incident bridge. Phase C: recovery. Credibility over speed. Staged reopen. Core clearing to cash in, cash out edges. Fee holidays for impacted flows. Prioritize withdrawals. Post-mortem within 72 hours. Public and diff friendly. Phase D: audit. Turn incident into normative tests. Will run in CI/CD. Patch incentives. If fraud paid, make honesty cheaper next time. Update doctrine, not code. Credo: protect finality, preserve dignity, then restore throughput. Borrowed from caravans, courts, and code, your daily rules. Clarity over cleverness. If users need a manual for fees, you're taxing confusion. Determinism over discretion. Replace trust me with read this. Graceful degradation. Nothing goes to zero abruptly. Design ramps, not cliffs. Local first. Solve for the last mile. Elites will adapt. Open by default. Logs, schemas, APIs. Privacy where needed. Opacity nowhere else. Explainable credit. Show the knobs that change a user's price. Reputation with appeals. Scores must be contestable. Custody with training wheels. Start safe, let users earn control. Commons endowed. Budget for identity, disputes, and observability before marketing. Speed with ethics. If a feature only wins when users understand it, kill it. Memory with motion. Archive decisions next to metrics. Pin reasons to releases. Exit with honor. Decommission paths. Export to migrate to sunset with notice and tooling. Close your day like a good clerk in Venice or a scribe in Timbuktu. Reconcile what moved, record what remained, and write tomorrow's risk at the top of the page. because systems are just stories that kept their promises. Keep yours publicly, repeatedly, and with enough humility to survive the storm.
Strip away symbols, metals, screens, and protocols, and what remains is the same primitive loop. Sense, decide, exchange, remember. From the Nile's flood tables to DeFi price feeds, all institutions are extended cognition. They exist to make memory transferable. Civilization is just a compression format for trust over distance. When trust expands faster than geography, we call it empire. When geography expands faster than trust, we call it collapse. Every tool, abacus, coin, ledger, blockchain, is an interface for fairness under latency. Technology only upgrades speed. Ethics must upgrade resolution. And in that ratio, speed divided by integrity, lies the fate of every system. The mistake of kings and coders alike believing order is designed when it is actually trained. Mali trained fairness through trade. Venice trained prudence through audit. Modern networks train alignment through feedback loops. Constitutions, whether legal or digital, are not walls. They are learning rates. Governance fails when it locks its own gradient descent. So build your systems as adaptive organisms. Every vote a data point. Every incident a regression. Every patch a mutation that survives only if it lowers entropy. The best protocols don't chase immortality. They chase recoverability. Persistence is not rigidity. It is version control for values. History survivors, Venice, Timbuktu, open source projects share one habit. They fork carefully and merge honestly. GDP, TVL, engagement, followers. Each century invents new scoreboards for progress. But the true KPI never changed. How much optionality can an ordinary person exercise before despair? If systems raise that number, they civilize. If they lower it, they extract. Modern dashboards track throughput, not dignity. Yet, dignity is measurable. Latency between effort and recognition. Volatility of safety. Liquidity of learning. Interest rate of hope. These are the shadow indicators every wise policymaker already feels in silence. Optimize them and your civilization compounds quietly. Ignore them and you get fast GDP, slow souls. Remember, efficiency is cheap. Meaning is the true scarce resource. Picture the entire narrative collapsed into one image. A scribe by lamplight, an engineer by screen light, both balancing ledgers of cause and consequence. Across 6,000 years, they've learned the same operational truth. Systems endure only when utility and beauty coincide. The last audit is not financial, but aesthetic. Does the design feel right to those who live inside it? If yes, the system will self-heal. If no, no subsidy can save it. So close the books with humility. Audit your incentives daily. Archive your reasons beside your results. Treat every new protocol as a cultural artifact, not just code. When in doubt, slow down and listen. The market is telling a moral. Because the civilization algorithm is recursive. Each generation inherits the compiled code of trust, runs it, debugs it, and passes it forward.
The story ends where it began. A flow of value across uncertainty. A light in the dark counting what matters. A promise written cleaner than yesterday. There is no final ledger, only continuous reconciliation between what we can build and what we must become.
Strip away symbols, metals, screens, and protocols, and what remains is the same primitive loop. Sense, decide, exchange, remember. From the Nile's flood tables to DeFi price feeds, all institutions are extended cognition. They exist to make memory transferable. Civilization is just a compression format for trust over distance. When trust expands faster than geography, we call it empire. When geography expands faster than trust, we call it collapse. Every tool, abacus, coin, ledger, blockchain, is an interface for fairness under latency. Technology only upgrades speed. Ethics must upgrade resolution. And in that ratio, speed divided by integrity, lies the fate of every system. The mistake of kings and coders alike believing order is designed when it is actually trained. Mali trained fairness through trade. Venice trained prudence through audit. Modern networks train alignment through feedback loops. Constitutions, whether legal or digital, are not walls, they are learning rates. Governance fails when it locks its own gradient descent. So build your systems as adaptive organisms. Every vote a data point. Every incident a regression. Every patch a mutation that survives only if it lowers entropy. The best protocols don't chase immortality. They chase recoverability. Persistence is not rigidity. It is version control for values. History survivors, Venice, Timbuktu, open source projects share one habit. They fork carefully and merge honestly. GDP, TVL, engagement, followers. Each century invents new scoreboards for progress. But the true KPI never changed. How much optionality can an ordinary person exercise before despair? If systems raise that number, they civilize. If they lower it, they extract. Remember, efficiency is cheap. Meaning is the true scarce resource. Picture the entire narrative collapsed into one image. A scribe by lamplight, an engineer by screen light, both balancing ledgers of cause and consequence. Across 6,000 years, they've learned the same operational truth. Systems endure only when utility and beauty coincide. The last audit is not financial, but aesthetic. Does the design feel right to those who live inside it? If yes, the system will self-heal. If no, no subsidy can save it. So close the books with humility. Audit your incentives daily. Archive your reasons, decide your results. Treat every new protocol as a cultural artifact, not just code. When in doubt, slow down and listen. The market is telling a moral.
because the civilization algorithm is recursive. Each generation inherits the compiled code of trust, runs it, debugs it, and passes it forward. The story ends where it began, a flow of value across uncertainty. A light in the dark counting what matters. A promise written cleaner than yesterday. There is no final ledger, only continuous reconciliation between what we can build and what we must become.
Every era leaves two legacies: infrastructure and intuition. Bricks erode, patterns persist. The Nile taught that calendars are contracts. Venice proved that transparency scales governance. The Sahel showed that networks outperform empires. The digital age adds a final constant: computation preserves consensus. The next civilization will not be a nation, but a protocol of protocols. Sovereign in logic, plural in language, audited by math, narrated by story, governed by participation curves instead of borders. It will measure territory not in square kilometers, but in bandwidth of cooperation. Its citizens will hold keys, not passports. Its wars will be fought in latency and law, not in land and blood. Blueprints are no longer carved in stone. Their version controlled in real time. But the moral substrate remains carbon-based. Us. Designing for a millennium demands humility in architecture. Every innovation is a moral instrument, a feedback loop that either compounds wisdom or accelerates ruin. 5 design axioms for the next 1,000 years. Make externalities visible. If your metric hides cost, you've minted a lie. Tag every transaction with its shadow: carbon, attention, emotion. Build for stewardship, not extraction. Assets that outlive owners must have automatic guardianship clauses. DAOs, trusts, foundations. Teach audit literacy as civic right. Every citizen should read a budget, verify a hash, and trace a supply chain. Encode grace. Allow reversibility, forgiveness, soft failure. A perfect contract without mercy is a bug in humanity. Design for death. All systems decay. Design graceful succession. Export, snapshot, teach. Legacy is the only scalable uptime. If we get these 5 right, civilization becomes anti-fragile memory, not brittle monument. The next revolution is not industrial, digital, or biological. It is semantic. Value will shift from ownership to interpretation. Attention economies will collapse into context economies. A bookkeeper once priced gold by weight. Tomorrow systems will price truth by latency. Whoever verifies fastest without corruption defines credibility. Work will orbit sense-making. Curators, explainers, verifiers, mediators. Capital will chase clarity. Noise will be penalized by time, not censorship. Communities will mint their own narrative coins. Reputation tokens backed by contribution, burned by deceit. Art, governance, and computation will merge into synthetic culture. Real-time myth-making with audit logs. And perhaps, for the first time since the first market, profit and purpose will index together. The camera pulls back. Desert, sea, city, cloud. One continuous network of trust. A child in Lego slings Python on a solar tablet. A farmer in Rajasthan sells carbon credits via satellite. A researcher in Quito signs a treaty hashed into orbit.
All are entries in the same living ledger. In the archives of Timbuktu, a page still whispers the law of scales. In a data center in Reykjavik, a block finalizes the same principle. Truth delayed is value denied. So the architects of tomorrow will not build towers. They will build flows. Flows of knowledge, care, energy, equity. They will be historians with code editors, monks with dashboards, traders of integrity. And when they meet across languages and centuries, they will know each other instantly by the calm precision of those who keep clean books with clean hearts. Because after empires and currencies and clouds, one constant remains. The purpose of civilization is to remember itself faster and more kindly each time. The lamp dims, the ledger closes, the next epoch begins. Quietly, beautifully, in balance. 1,000 years of credit left, paid forward in trust.
Civilization begins when a stranger can prove who they are without begging. At the market's edge, identity is not a passport. It is a portable claim that survives distance, disaster, and bureaucracy. Build it like a caravan token. Local attesters, teachers, nurses, guild heads issue verifiable credentials. Completed grade 6, trained mason, paid water dues. Selective disclosure lets a user prove skill without exposing home. Social recovery replaces the lost key with people, not a help desk. Expiration by context. A health credential ages. A birth date does not. A woman crosses a floodplain to find work. Her phone is old, her signal is poor, her life is precise. At a site gate, she presents 3 proofs: safety training, negative debt with her cooperative, prior wage receipts. The foreman sees data that matters and opens the gate.